talk a lot about leadership, but I guess the question really comes up then, what is a good leader? Now, I've worked with a lot of different leaders, like we all have, and some are great, some are really inspiring, some a little more problematic. One I remember whose only redeeming quality was that his laziness stopped him from doing as much damage as he might have. But most of them, most of the leaders you work with, are going to be like you and me. They're a mixed bag. So I find it helpful to reflect on where on the leadership scale I would be based on what I did today. So if you're visiting a building, for example, what does the scale look like? At one end of the scale, I would have the CEO who used to send an advance list of the correct brand of bottled water, approved takeout orders for lunch, strict instructions on who was allowed to talk to them, and threatening the executive director if anyone tried to shake their hand while they were there. At the other end, I'd put the CEO that I found sitting in the dining room eating and laughing with some of the residents and CNAs that they'd met while they were answering call lights during a surprise visit. Where would you fall on that one today? The leadership scale for, say, ops reviews. On the one end, there might be the COO who I watched cackling with joy when a brand new NHA ran out the room crying and said, let's do that again with the next one. That was fun. At the other end, I would say the COO that I saw work through each step of a challenge with a struggling NHA and share how they'd struggled similarly years ago, and then showed up at that building for the next couple of weeks to help that person be successful and gave all credit to them and took all of the blame for herself for weak areas. So where are you today on that scale? If you're talking about strategy planning, at one end of the scale, it's going to be the CFO who literally threw a tantrum and some pens, notebooks, and a dry eraser because during a brainstorming session after he'd presented his plan, other people continued to have ideas instead of saying no more brainstorming needed. At the other end, it would be the CFO who insisted on always having frontline staff and people with a diverse range of backgrounds, not just old white guys, in every single strategy brainstorming session, because they know all kinds of stuff that we don't, is what he used to say. So where are you on that one? Look, we all have good and bad examples of leadership in most situations, but the most important thing that you can do is today take a step back and take a moment to figure out which of those examples you're closest to in each situation. Which of the examples you've seen of good and bad leadership are you closer to? Are you the boss you would want to work for? Go and be the kind of leader that creates a sustainable culture where people want to live and want to work.